Thank you all for being part of the call. I'm very excited. Very glad and excited. So today we're going to go through a couple of stuff. Um, Firstly, unlike the usual classes, we're going to start with After Effects. We're going to start with motion graphics and then run into design. That will be with Photoshop, and we shall learn a few things in there, right? So, and that shall be beautiful. So apparently, there's something which I decided to start with. I think I had to talk about it yesterday, but I really didn't get the opportunity, to talk about it. We had a few technical issues here and there at the start, so they literally made me not to be able to talk about it. Yeah. So yeah, just in case you're wondering, I think for the last three sessions, I've been literally wearing this shirt. It has Discover Your Tribe. I don't know how it looks on that side. I've been wearing it for the past few days. Some of you guys may be asking yourself, maybe the face actually doesn't shower something. So no, I actually do shower. I just have kind of like a couple of shirts like this. I think there are two. And I just love Gino wear them at this time because they have some beautiful ones. Yeah, in fact, we started wearing them all, when we are introducing something called um, um, Creative Fridays at Motive. So I think that's still going. Anyway, yeah, having passed that out, I wanted to start with something very beautiful. I wanted to start with this short little conversation to do with design and animation, and sharing with us why in the first place are we learning design and animation. Now, oftentimes there are literally two main categories of people are literally learning motion design or design, right? The first category of people are literally those who are literally learning it to do work, get gigs and literally do work with it, right? So and that's literally one category. That person will be like, I want to be a motion designer, or probably you're the graphic designer, but you want to add to your skill set in a place of motion, and that's literally one category where I'll be like, I want to be getting clients, I want to market myself, I want to make sure reels and get clients. Now the second category where I literally tend to fall in a bit, though I also fall in the first category, are those literally who learn motion design or even design itself to do it for their business or something else, so or literally add it on their skill set of marketing or whatever kind of thing that they're literally doing. So yeah, if you're literally going to be like, oh, if I literally start up with my brand or something else, so I want to be applying motion design or design to build up my brand or something else, so that's literally very welcome. So I believe that intention and motive as why one is learning the skill set is very, very important to acknowledge and literally define in the first place, right? So yeah, those are the main two categories, and I'm going to be tackling the reason that's why these classes are going to be way more practical than usual is because of the both categories. There are those who just want to learn something to literally be able to apply it in their kind of business. Now, that kind of category, you only require to just learn how to do things like very fast. But if you want to have it as for your work or something, that's what you're going to require to put in for input, right? Then the second kind of conversation that I'm going to have, I'm just going to have the conversation for like 15 minutes. The second thing I would love to tackle is if I was learning graphic design, graphic design or motion design at first, more solidly graphic design, what would I start with, right? Or what is the most important advice that I would literally need, in when I was literally, if I was literally starting to learn graphic design again. And one of the things that I literally encourage people is to train your design eye. Now, it's one thing to have the skill to know how the tools work, right? And it's another, let me have my Photoshop in front of it right now. It's one thing to have the skill set. Let me just, okay, I think we're going to start with illustration. Let me just change the background in bit. It's one thing to have the skill set of how the tools work. I'm going to share my screen in a bit, by the way. It's one thing to have the skill set, to have the knowledge of how the tools work, right? But it's another to have the mental image of how you literally have to put it into practice, right? So some designers, oftentimes motion designers, literally more so designers, right? Because before you put things in motion, you have to literally design them. There's a bigger problem when you have the knowledge of the tools which we are literally learning or something else, but you're not training your design eye. So what do I mean by training your design eye? What I mean by training your design eye is literally a place where you consciously look at good design like each and every day, right? And that is very, very important. It's very important to make sure that you look at good design every day. Like you open Pinterest and then look at the things like in there. And lots of often things, people post nice work in there and just keep on looking at it. Or literally Behance normally often things actually has cream their cream. They're normally identities, portfolios, and everything. So each and every day you must make it a daily practice to go on Behance, on Pinterest, and then you look at some of the work those people are doing, and then literally practice with it, or practice it or something like that, right? So that is very, very important. Number two is literally to be in a place whereby you don't just watch tutorials, it's literally a dopamine activity. Just watch tutorials and then literally think that you've actually learned something. So it's very, very important to watch tutorials as you are literally putting stuff into practice. When you just watch tutorials, dopamine itself is a hormone which is in charge of expectation, right? It literally gets happy, by you just watching tutorials and keeping on watching without doing. It's more afraid. The entity inside that is literally more afraid of practicing stuff than actually watching. So you find it more comfortable sitting at the tutorial and just watching it without literally putting it in practice. Trust me, that can literally break some sort of a code in line with your learning. It can create some sort of a chasing, right? Your learning can be slowed up by that. So in fact, true learning is literally a place where you do practice what you watch. So anyway, without any further ado, let me start with the most important thing that I wanted to introduce to us. And in a few, I'm just going to share my screen. Let me share my screen in a bit. Okay, and start with the most important thing that I want to show us. I hope you guys can see my screen. Beautiful. Hope you guys can see my screen. So I'm going to go to the Windows and open Google Chrome. All right. Now, in that kind of learning, there's something which I realized is very important. I may tackle it, but I realized it may take me quite some time, going through it and everything, right? So I realized if I literally introduce this to us like very early, that would be very, very beautiful. So I'm going to introduce to us one of the most beautiful courses. In fact, this courses is by School of Motion. It was firstly paid for, right? It was firstly paid for, but when the gentleman actually joined School of Motion, it was actually made free on that page, right? Now, this kind of course that I'm going to show to us, it's one of the most amazing courses where, let me just show us something. Now, in this kind of course, you're going to learn quite a lot of stuff in line with design principles, and then because it introduces you to the design principles more so in the perspective of emotion, in the perspective of somebody who does motion graphics, right? It introduces you. In fact, I've done some. I think let me just have. I think there is some other PC. I've done some posts in line with the principles of design and all kind of stuff, but I had never seen up to the time probably I joined this class and did it some time back. I'd never seen any detailed explanation of what design, the principles of design, the principles of animation, like as detailed as they are. Let me just show you something very small here. Hope you guys can see my screen. Let me just show you something very small here. I think I got the videos download something back. Okay. I just want us to anticipate something that now I think in some courses to come, I mean in some classes to come, we should talk about color theory. But there's a PDF that you guys are actually going to receive when you take up the class. Let me just make it so that. Now, this is literally an explanation of color theories. Now, I've never seen, there's a time I held a class with the Manifest Design team, and then we were sharing literally color theories. We talked about color palette, we talked about partial colors, primary colors, and that kind of stuff. Now, apparently, this course has a very detailed form, as you guys can see, a very detailed form of what color theories are. what's this like color theory altogether, like colors, anything, the basics of color and harmony, right? So it talks about color, it talks about color theory, talks about the color wheel, it talks about primary colors, it talks about secondary colors, tertiary colors, basic terms of what you think, like what hue is, what tint is, what tone is, warm and cool colors, monochromatic colors, color harmony, like each and everything to do with colors. They have different been described, right? Let me just share something also. Now, still, just like I told you guys, I never seen like people in the class. Just like I said, I think I have some of the things. If you go on my on a channel called Visual Storytellers, it's one of the things I found it sometime back. I shared some of those things to do with the design principles and everything. I also think shared it on my X account. If you want to check it out. But I actually never seen somebody or people sharing start to do with design principles as detailed as this. Now, when you take up the course that I'm going to show us, guys, you'll be able to actually download these PDFs. So I'm going to have them sent into the community, both on our Telegram channel and on the WhatsApp community, right? So, as you can see, it talks about the design principles of contrast, variety, repetition, balance, alignment, emphasis, proximity. I think it's only proportion that I didn't touch in some of the slides that I shared. In fact, I also shared some of those slides because they talk about almost the same thing, but in different angles, and I think in different visuals, right? So it talks about the building blocks of what line, value, form, and texture are. I think these ones I didn't talk about them in those kinds of slides. It talks about contrast in color, contrast in texture, in size, in value, and in form, right? It talks about what repetition is, alignment, proximity, unity, variety, balance, emphasis, proportion, rhythm, line, form, value, texture, like everything, and also probably goes into more details. Now, most of these things actually, besides proportion, I shared about them sometime back, but the literally goes into the examples of how these have literally been applied in animation, right? So it talks about like contrast, variety, how everything like has been applied in animation. So it was very, very detailed. And yeah, so you guys are literally going to check it out. So we're going to go to School of Motion. And when you go to School of Motion, as you can see, it's highlighted in this kind of thing or something. Because literally I have an account with them already. So you're going to go to once you go to School of Motion, apparently, unlike me, they're going to have you to actually register or probably open your account or some sort of login, right? Now, I think I'm automatically logged in. I'm going to just check out, but you just have to log in or literally to register, put in your details and everything, then come to courses. And then when you come to courses, you set up a courses. Most of them are literally paid for something. Some of them I actually learned some of them, like I learned some of them now. Most of them are literally paid for, but there are these literally three free self-paced courses. Now, I want you guys to screenshot or whatever you can do. But when you go to School of Motion, you can check them out. Now, the path to Mograph itself, if you guys have never taken it, is about. I think I have it. I have most of the videos. Like I think those ones I can have them like zipped in sort of. I can put them in some sort of a zip and then send it to us. If I don't want to download it once or something, so I have it in my PC. It has like just like how it talks about like extra, a lot of things in line with career. They talk about like how different studios literally operate, how different artists, approach their work. There's a lot of podcasts, to do with what they do and all that kind of stuff. So that's it. Now, there's beginner's guide to design and motion. Now, this is what you have to actually click on, right? It was done by Michael Jones. He also has his own website, actually. Just search for Michael Jones, right? Once you go to beginner's guide to motion, apparently they'll ask you to register, which I already did. Now, mind you, this course is actually 2.5 hours. So in just like less than 3 hours, you're done with the course, right? So apparently, they're asking me to register something else, but I think they didn't remember my email, right? But now, once you register, yeah, okay. Once you register, you can actually go back. I think they just remembered that I already had an account with them or something like that. So let me just go back. Once you register, you can even start up with the class. As you can see, as you saw, it was actually free. So you can just start up with the class. So I usually went through each and everything within the class. Like I've gone through them a couple of times, right? So just register and then start. It's actually free of charge, right? So this is literally it. And then you just literally continue with everything or start with everything. It shows you welcome to the course. So this is a very, very detailed course.
At School of Motion, we give you the tools, knowledge, and network to achieve your motion design goals no matter what stage you're at in your career. We pull out all the stops to make our lessons as fun and informative as possible, going to insane lengths to make sure material is presented in the right order, with the right real-world examples, and with the right support. You're signing up for more than just access to content.
And all that kind of stuff, like it's really beautiful. Like if you check out, there's another course right here. I think it's called I think, do they have it highlighted here? I think they don't have it highlighted here. I think I'll give us the name, but this particular kind of, it has a lot of like there's a lot of stuff in here that was in some other course. Like I think it's not actually right here. I'll just highlight it in the class. In fact, it's called Photoshop Illustrator and Fish. So there are a couple of stuff that it talks about. So yeah, this is very, very beautiful. I would encourage us, like, you take some time tomorrow and come to this website, or even right now, if you can log in with your phone or something, also come to this website and do this course. It's free of charge, and it will give you a lot of details that you might not find on YouTube, to do with animation principles, and also car theory and the history of design. It talks about who first literally crafted the name, or who first literally crafted the name called graphic designer. Why did they call himself a graphic designer or something? So it talks about how we probably motion designer literally grafted ourselves literally under like that kind of person. Like talks about lots of stuff. When the first frame started yesterday, I think the other time, I think it was on Wednesday, I was talking about what keyframes are. So it talks about each and everything in there, right? So anyway, without any further ado, I think I had to highlight this, which is very, very important. All right. So today we're going to go straight into the class that we ought to do in After Effects. Now, but before we go into the class we ought to do, let me just go to After Effects. Now, I'm using the least version, which is After Effects, Adobe After Effects 2019, right? Because some of you, I think there's some of us who are literally having versions that are higher. Today we use probably a higher version or something that suits. But it actually has the same experience, just for those who are having another version. But it's almost the same experience. So, or let me just stick to After Effects 2019. I think, yeah, there are some people who have machines that cannot probably enable 2024, 2023. So I'm just going to stick to 2019. It's quite a lower version, but it gives you the same experience as 2020, as 2023 or 2024, right? So there's something which I did also to share with us in line with Mograph Marathon, and one of the most important things I think for us to put at the back of our head, at the back of our mind. One of the things I think we have to keep note of is that, as the name of the course is, we are literally doing some sort of a marathon, right? It's a marathon, so we're literally going through a couple of stuff like very fast, right? I'm here to literally show us how easy design is, how easy animation is. I'm going to take us through a couple of things that to do with how the interface and everything, keyframes and everything, like how everything is. But I'm going to be a bit fast-paced, right? But it's quite intentional, because we have only like 1.5 hours to cover Photoshop and After Effects. But my intention is going to be to make it as simple as possible, to show you how simple or how simply you can actually have like animations or even design done or something like so. Then later on, we shall share with you courses just like after the second course, just like after probably the second class on Wednesday. We shared with you like those tutorials that you have to go through. They are very detailed and all kind of stuff, because the beautiful thing is that there are YouTube links whereby you can have yourself replaying what was done or something that sort, like you can, preview it or something. So the main focus is going to, be you being a bit self-paced and then putting in the work to listen to those tutorials and all that kind of stuff, right? So that would be very, very important. Yeah, you have to put in some extra effort to go watch those tutorials and do some of the exercises that we're going to send, and that will be beautiful. Otherwise, I believe in the next, I think we are left with something like 7 days or so. You are going to finish them when you're able to do motion graphics and design them in a way that you didn't believe was possible. Anyway, was open up just like how we saw yesterday. I don't know whether I should disable my video something also, but it's distracting us. I don't want anything to distract us apparently. So I'm going to disable my video for now and just focus on what we are literally saying, right? So as we said yesterday, what we have to do once we open up after this, we're going to open up a new project, right? For some of you guys with something to do with the new composition, right? Now, literally clicking on new composition. In fact, I believe there's some people with us who are not actually with us yesterday. So I'm going to go through a couple of stuff in line with the interface and how different things work, right? So, hope you guys can hear me clearly. So, yesterday shared with us that we have a couple of menus, or what we may call interfaces. We have this file menu, edit, composition layer, effects, animation, videos, and stuff, right? So in file, we explore stuff like create a new, then you can create a new project, a new team project, a new folder, or an Adobe Photoshop file just in case you want to drag it in. Or probably you can open up a project. You can tell probably the essential one or something. You can open a recent project, the one you worked on or something. You can browse in Bridge. Now, Bridge is another Adobe software which different integrates all the Adobe software. Can integrate like elements from Photoshop or something of sort. You can upload the project. You can set as. You can have like incremental steps, right? You can import files. I'm just going to show us how easily you can import files. But apparently, you can do Control-I to import a file, or Control-Alt-I to import multiple files. You can import recent footage exports. We're going to use this a lot for exporting. Yeah, so apparently it has, you can also probably use it to add scripts. We should talk about scripts in some of the later classes. So it also has the edits thing. Now, actually, it's something which you didn't see here. It's called dependencies. Now, dependencies help you to create files once you literally put in apparently they're not highlighted because we don't have a file, but it helps you to create files or put them together just in case you drag and drop files from like file folders, right? So if you literally collect dependencies, they literally are collected into one folder, which is easy, to share with some other person. So apparently you don't have to add this script. You don't need it. So apparently, you guys are having the project. This one, you won't mind about it. It's a plugin. It's the script. So you don't have it in your interface. We should talk about scripts later on. So you don't need them right now. I think you are having the interface. It's a project, and then it takes control. Now the interface may not be looking like mine. Apparently, if you want it to look like mine, you're going to come and then change the workspace to default, right? So I believe your interface may be at standard or something, so but just have to put it at default just in case it can be mine, right? So apparently, let me just pause. How to add a file or a video that you're going to work on?
Sorry to interrupt, but I don't think we can see the screen.
Oh, you can't see the screen. I think my screen can be seen. Who else can't see the screen? I think my screen can be seen. I think my screen can be seen. I can see my own screen.
Oh yeah, yes, I'll just try to rejoin because I can see some other people in the comments. They can't see your screen.
What? Apparently, I don't know why they can't literally see it, but you have to look for visual storytellers or visual story. Apparently, I switched on my camera, and there's another. I don't know. Should be the host or
Oh
something.
yeah, yeah, that I can see.
It's yeah, it's visual story. So if you can't see the screen, just look out for visual story. One of that's like one of the people in there. So anyway, this is literally I just realized how to literally make dots is like this one or something like so. So as I want to try how to literally put files into the After Effects. Now there is three main ways. One of them is dragging and dropping whatever kind of file is an image. You just drag and drop into the project folder, or even though you don't drag and drop into the project folder, and you just drag and drop into the timeline right here. Yesterday we defined this and say this is our timeline. It will still appear in the project file, right? Now, actually, when you click here, it shows you our dependencies. You can now collect files or something, right? Another way of adding files, just in case we do this, is this a double clicking on the project. You can check it where probably the files are or something like so, and then you're able to load a file in there or import it, right, in some other way. Or you can actually do Control I, which we saw up there, and still import a file, right? So apparently, for you to start like animating, now this, anyway, let me just have us go through the tools, just like probably we did yesterday, just for those who aren't around. To create a new composition, a composition is like a folder or collection of stuff that are going to be animations, like an artboard. Yesterday we saw what an artboard is in Photoshop. So it's like an artboard or a place where your work is going to appear, right? So this is literally the viewport or where your stuff are visually going to be seen from. So apparently what you have to do, just like we said the other time, is that you start by inputting a name, probably let's say probably class 3. Once you input the name, this one is going to be in HPT 9 frames per 0.93. So you set the number of frames. Apparently, I think this is okay. 29 frames, or you can actually put it in 30 frames. But normally, it's best to leave it in 39.97 frames or 30 frames. Not if you're putting it in something like 60 or 50. Like, we should talk about the frames later, but I think it's beautiful if you leave it in 30 frames per second. Right? Except otherwise, if you're dealing with footages, it depends on what kind of footage that you're literally dealing with. But oftentimes, it's beautiful to use 30 frames per second because the motion in 30 frames per second and the motion blur is literally relatable with the eye, with the human eye, right? So we human beings literally see stuff in literally moving in 24 frames per second. So something within 24 or 30 is literally okay, right? So apparently here I literally input the duration of how long one animation is. So we want it to be like 1 second. So I'm going to click OK. And then it shows a white background, but it's not like a background in there, as you can see. Apparently yesterday I didn't go through these tools. So apparently here I showed you like the preview of the, if you want to like see how if you want to if you're told there are different menus and you want to always preview this particular kind of menu, you click on it. Now this one is to enable us to use the primary viewer, right? This particular one enables us to see how zoomed. You can just use it to zoom in your project view. This kind of interface that we're using, here it enables you to see like where you are, like in the timeline. You can input the timeline which you want to add in. Here you can make some sort of a screenshot and then compare it. The resolution, when you put it in full, the animations are going to just go out because it's using a lot of keyframes to render and all kind of stuff. So you want it to be in something like third or quarter while you're doing the animation. This one literally shows you, whether the background is having some sort of like whether there's something in the background or not, right? So when you click on it, it shows you that there's nothing in the background. Now, this quite thing is for us to be able to see what we are doing. If you don't want that whole background to be there, you can literally do it instead of thing. But I think it's better when you have some sort of background in it. So this one is, I think we should talk about it, but it shows you can crop the region of interest of the kind of composition that you are dealing with, which we shall also explore that in the coming classes. Those are literally views and all kind of stuff. You can decrease anomaly working of quality. This one we shall see what it normally does, but oftentimes it's literally producing stuff. It can somehow adapt to make you produce a bit faster and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, this character project is the same. It's the same kind of interface we had in Photoshop. Here, it's the same thing as properties. Just in case I write something here, as you can see, this very menu is the very menu in After Effects. As I told you yesterday, that as we see this kind of artboard, this is literally an artboard or where your work literally appears. It's the same kind of the thing that we have, or it's the same kind of the thing which is called a pre-composition in After Effects. So, what else? Now, this kind of, let me talk about this menu bar. I think even yesterday I tackled it in just a few minutes. This first kind of menus, we have a selection tool, which is the shortcut key is B, right? The hand tool and then the zoom in tool is actually all those are usually existent here in Photoshop. And there's the hand tool, which is for you to move around and move around stuff. And then there is the zoom tool. You can zoom in or zoom out. It's the same thing in Photoshop. And then there's a selection tool, which is B. Same stuff. They just use it. They just actually call it a move tool, right? So this one is for rotation. It's also existent in Illustrator. I think it's in there just for you to rotate, just in case I literally draw a shape, right? I can click on the rotate tool and then rotate it. That's what it does. Right now, this is a pan behind tool. They call it a pan behind tool. It's normally used to shift the anchor frame. Now, the anchor frame, the anchor point, is literally a point where all the transformations literally appear, right? So just in case I want this, for example, we talked about keyframes yesterday. If you want to scale it out, apparently it scales from that very point where the anchor point is, right? So if I drag the anchor point right here, it will scale from that point, right? If I drag it up here, it will scale from that point, right? Just like we said yesterday, it sounds beautiful to have it like centered and in the first place. You go to edit preference and then general, and then have have the anchor point selected as something ticked. Apparently, this I think it's right here. Center anchor point in shape layers. Yeah, this one has to be clicked. I tell you, if you want it to be always centered, which actually you want. So normally I have it centered. So all right. So apparently there's some other thing which we need to see in this edit kind of menu. This one is one of the most important things to clear this cache and memory. Often when you've done stuff in After Effects and that software, don't want it saves what they call caches, right? It saves what they call caches. So those files normally make your process a bit slower. So apparently mine were 20.9 GB, so I have to clear them. So it's always good to clear them maybe after project or something. So there is a clear. So anyway, right now we are going to do something. I'm going to show us how we can do something. I'll love us to learn from the project-based kind of perspective. So we're going to do some sort of animation that's, if you guys know the gentleman called Ali Abdil, but normally people use it whenever they record a video and then they have some sort of overlay of text popping up or some that sort. And then we're going to use that kind of project to Let me just show us one of them. We're going to use that kind of project to understand how keyframes work. Just like I shared the other time, keyframes are literally the heart of animation, right? Let me just show you.
Have you ever wondered why your grades aren't getting better even though you're studying for longer? Or you could be experiencing the law of diminishing returns. So let's imagine you're studying for an exam. As you start to work through the new material, you'll have these big improvements to your understanding and retention of the topics. Your brain is engaged and you're feeling energized. But as you exhaust your energy, the additional hours that you invest to get you only marginal gains in your performance. This is the law of diminishing returns in action. But the law of diminishing returns isn't limited to studying. It can actually apply to many areas of life, like practicing sports or buying tech or marketing your company.
Okay.
What's up, brand builder? Stephen Hurahan here at brandmasteracademy.com. And now, a couple of years, all of his places paid ads. And that's when I came to the realization there were two main categories of marketing, and that was push marketing and pull marketing. So push marketing is all about services, and that's when I came to the realization there were two main categories of marketing, and that was push marketing and pull marketing. So push marketing is all about paid ads. So it's all about paying for the privilege.
How to make it what's for purpose and that. So we're going to work on that kind of project, and I'm going to show us how easy that can be done with just a simple understanding of how keyframes work. So anyway, let me go back to what we explored yesterday. I hope you guys put some of the things. I'm now going back into what I said yesterday before we go into some new stuff. Yesterday I shared about what keyframes are. Right? And I say keyframes are like recordings, I should call them, right? They usually record the movement, or they usually record the changes that happen when something that happen after some sort of a time, right? So I'm just going to talk about them again in just a few. We still have a few minutes to go. We're going to work on some other project or something, or just work on the other. I think. Anyway, we should just work on that kind of empty animation to show us how, particularly I saw some other person, I think it was one person that actually worked on it yesterday, and they did some wonderful work. So I think we're going to work on that in the next 5 minutes. But let me just take us back to keyframes, because if you understand this, you usually understood animation, you usually understood After Effects. So, like I shared with us, when you put a shape, let me write here text or something. Right. Okay, let me just. When you put a shape or a text, whatever kind of element that you put in here, when you put a shape and element or something nonsense, to make it move around with some nonsense, unlike the still designs in Photoshop, apparently we make things move or change or morph whatever kind of language we want to use using keyframes. Let me go back into them for those who are with us in the first class for the last time, right? So just in case I want this text to either change or move, whatever kind of a thing, with time, what I have to do is there are lots of keyframeable, call them keyframeable properties, right? So the text properties itself, whatever kind of a thing where you see kind of a clock or something else, it shows that this thing is keyframeable and you can literally record the change, right? For example, let me just click on this. If I want this text, let me just make it a bit bigger. You guys have seen some sort of Apple animations. Let me just show us how they are literally done in the bit. If you saw that Apple animation that it's called Don't Blink. If actually search about it on YouTube, it's called Don't Blink. So this is how they make their text change. Now, for example, I clicked on text on the subtext text, and then we're like, literally record or make a keyframe or literally record the transformations that are going to happen in this kind of subtext. Now, subtext is the text that we're using apparently. So if I come, if I literally rubber my time and put probably here and like in 5 seconds, I want this one to change to currently GR, right? If I want to change to GR, and after like, as you can see, whenever you make a change, right? For example, I've changed the text because we are literally keyframing or we are literally recording the source text apparently. So it changes, apparently it shows us some sort of a keyframes. Now these are called keyframes. For you guys, for those of you guys who didn't watch, I think we should put some other tutorial just about what keyframes are. But these are actually called road keyframes, and you should know what they usually are. So, but normally keyframes appear. So let me just create another one. Go. Just some random ones. Apple. As you can see, keyframes are created whenever I literally change or make a transformation up here, or probably help. So as you can see, when I literally thread this through, right? Let me just make the keyframes to be a bit fast. To do that, I've pressed out, I've highlighted them and then pressed out and then drag them. You can actually make them to be a bit faster than they were. So as you can see, the words are changing. If I press this through, what? Right? The words are literally changing because I literally put those keyframes or recordings on, so they can literally record whatever kind of thing that happens. Now, same thing, I can literally go to options or to literally transform and then find other keyframeable properties. Now, if you understand keyframing, like in the concept of each recording, whatever kind of things put into motion or something, whatever kind of transformations that you make. For example, if I want this one to be as it's changing because this is already recorded, and I did like as it's different changing into some other word, there's you can differently jump into where another keyframe is by clicking OK, right? And when you click it, you can jump to some other place, into that place where the keyframe is already is. So if I be like in this kind of a place, I want the position. For example, right now I've pressed on the keyframe so that I pressed on the keyframe of the position, right? Of the position value. And then I'm like, start recording, literally. That's the kind of understanding. Start recording. And then when you go to this kind of place, we want it to move. Now this is the X and this is the Y value, right? So I want it to move in this kind of position, when it reaches there as it's changing into some other word. And to move into that kind of position. When I press K again to go to where another keyframe is, I can be like, I want it to move into this kind of position, right? If I press K again, and then I can also be like, record, and I want it to move in this kind of position. As you can see, keyframes are automatically recorded, right? In this kind of place, I can be like, I want it to go back or something like so. Now, when I press through, now, the best understanding of how animations happen is all about recording. It's all about pressing this kind of a thing and then be like start recording the motion. And what happens, I've just done that, move the stuff around, and then as you can see, things are changing. Let me just make it a bit faster. As I said, I highlight all the keyframes and then press out, and then just drag them just like this so they can now appear faster. Right? All right, let me just drag them in so that they're still a bit faster. Now, there's something which I would love to introduce to us. And when you're dealing with keyframes, there's something called easy easing. Now, oftentimes, let me just show us the curve here. There's a curve of how animations will happen. As you can see, these are different straights, horizontal straight and all that kind of stuff. Now, they shouldn't be like that because that's not how motion in normally is reviewed. Motion has to start a bit slow. Now, this is literally, it's called a speed graph. It shows the speed from the start, like it starts slow and then it stops, right? I mean, it just starts at the same speed. It starts at the same speed and then it ends at the same speed, right? So that's how usually things work in normal life. Normal life, things start slowly. They pick up, some sort of inertia. They're literally put into motion using force. And then they start slowly and then they end slowly, right? So for us to replicate what happens in normal life, we normally have to easy that keyframe. We normally call it easy ease, or when you press shortcut is actually F9. When you press F9, it's actually easy ease. Now when it eases the keyframes, right? What happens? The speed graph, as you can see, it starts slowly, jumps down to the peak of the motion, or where the motion is at its highest peak, or at its highest speed, right? and then it goes down slowly. So this is literally how normally motion is, right? So apparently, as you can see, it has changed, right? It has changed a bit. So it starts slowly and ends slowly. So what happens, you can also, within the easy keyframes, right? Let me just make them a bit larger here. Within the is keyframes, you can also make them like is, right? You can be like, I want you to slow it out. I want it to be a bit slow, so there's a way you can drag them. We shall post something in the tutorial to know how you will actually deal with this. And then like I want it to, in fact, you can highlight them all and then manipulate them a bit. Okay. So I've actually made them to slow out or to stop a bit slowly or something like that. As you can see, the keyframes, the way the animation appears is a bit different, right? So if you go on, let me just show you that kind of animation. Apparently, it was done by it was done by Apple, right? If you go on YouTube, just in case somebody has never seen it, they made something like that. We just made it in within seconds. But they made animation like that. It's called not. Okay, just in Apple. Yeah, so this is how the animation goes. As you can see, they're literally applying the same principles, right? Those are even zooming out. That is actually the animation was made by Apple. So all they did was to keyframe the properties of everything, right? So everything in here, even scale, just like we said yesterday, you can be like, I want it to scale up, when it reaches like here, I want it to scale up from like 198, apparently that's the scale, and be like, I want it to be bigger. As you can see, it automatically records the keyframe. When it comes here, I want it to become a bit smaller. Okay, I want it to become a bit smaller, When it reaches here, I want it to become bigger again, right? It becomes big. When it reaches here, I want it to become small again. And then all the changes are literally made. As you can see, it increases and then, decreases. And then you can still press F9 and easy them, So that's how literally generically animations are. Even rotation, right? Let me just rotate this. To rotate this object or to make it in a kind of rotation or something of sort, all you have to do is to press on the keyframe, right? And then be like, in just a few seconds or few frames, I want it to rotate to 90 degrees, right? In fact, I was actually working with that. Let me just highlight this. Let me just hide this. Now, to hide whatever you keyframe, you just press 2, right? So, and I can now there's a shortcut instead of coming to the drop downs and then clicking on rotate or something like that. You can use shortcuts, which is literally R for the rotation, T for opacity, just like here, opacity, right? T for opacity, and then P for position, right? And then I think opacity scale, S for scale, right? So we could be like, let's scale this, and then you can press Shift R, and then you'll be like, let me add also rotation. You can press Shift P, and then also add the position, keyframes or something like that, and be like, I want us to record, I want the software to record the scale position, the rotation, and then the scale position and rotation. So when I come in this kind of a time after these 2 seconds, right? In this kind of seconds, I want it to scale, so I can be like, make it to scale. Now when I play it back, it scales up. As you can see, it scales up. Let me just make it a bit fast. It literally scales up, right? Then I can be like, okay, I want it to also rotate. So since I literally put my recording thing or keyframe, I can be like in this kind of position, I want it to be like this, right? So when you play back, it has already put stuff into motion. Very, very easy. Very, very easy. Right? Then you can be like, I have to change the position in that kind of a place, right? And then it does literally all the three. It rotates, it scales, and then it changes the position, right? So as you can see, animation is actually very, very easy. Now, if we do the same thing, let me just in the next 5 minutes, we do the this MTN animation in just 5 minutes. Or anyway, let's just work on that MTN animation since we cannot relate with it or something else. So let me just look out for it. I think I've downloaded it something about. And then we rush into and then we shall rush into animation. I think I've downloaded it. I pray I did. I think I downloaded it yesterday. Oh, I'm not saying it should be probably the next folder some sorts. Anyway, I'm not seeing that mention. I think I shared it in the Telegram. I think I shared it in Telegram or something like that. I downloaded it. The one which we used yesterday. It's actually right here. I've seen it. All right. Yesterday we did something like this, so we didn't finish it. Now, having understood how our keyframes work and everything, let me just hide everything and probably delete everything and show us how this can be done in like 5 minutes, right? So we shall show you some tutorials. We shall set with little tutorials to talk about keyframes, going into in-depth of keyframes and everything, right? So apparently we have this one zooming out. We're going to learn something new with this, right? Apparently when you create a shape, let me create a shape like this, and then probably make it black, right? And I'm going to add a text. Let me put probably MTN in the So, since After Effects works in terms of layers, right? So just like Photoshop. So once the layer is above the other, right now we can change the font. I mean the color. I can also change the font. I think I have the kind of font, right? And then I'm just going to scale it out a bit, make it small, right? Make it small. Now there's something we have to learn here. Now, just like we saw in our Photoshop, in Photoshop, once you put elements together, right? Let me do almost the same thing. Once you put elements together, let me make it black. Once you put elements together, you can join them and then group them by pressing Ctrl G, and then group them, right? When you group them, and then probably press Ctrl T to transform them or to increase them, whatever thing that you do within the group affects everything within that group, right? So if I add an adjustment layer of probably black and white onto that group, it actually affects everything in that group. There's something called clip masking. We're going to explore it in a few when we're learning Photoshop. So you can be like, let me change probably the background a bit. As you can see, clip masking is like whatever effect that's actually up here, because we have a black and white effect. So it changes everything to black and white. You can be like whatever kind of effect we're having here, we want it to only appear in this group. So when you press out, or you can also right click, and then it be like create a clipping mask right here. Actually, that's the same thing. So you will be like, I want everything that's literally up here, or that just maybe it could be a photo or something like that. I want this layer to only appear on this group, or to only appear in the element down below. You can also clip mask and stuff which are not literally groups, right? So if we do a clip mask to this group, you can see that the black and white affects everything within that kind of folder. So it's the same thing we have here. There's something we call pre-composing. Now, pre-composing, you're like making a folder, or you're like grouping stuff, and whatever, when you group stuff together, they're like grouped, and everything that's, applied to that group, it affects everything within that group. So grouping, it here is usually termed as precomposing. So you can turn this into a precomposition, right? And then be like, let's make this a precomposition. So we can make it MTN shape, right? And then press OK. Once you click into it, you can open the precomposition or that group. You can understand it as a group. Now, the other thing we talked about region of interest. Now, as the name sounds, region of interest, that this is the region I'm interested in. So we can define the region of interest. Apparently, this is how the whole composition appears, right? So we can define the region of interest or what we want in this entire composition. So we can be like, I don't want this entire thing, right? I only want this shape alone. So I can come and then define what the region of interest is or what I want. But I shall show us a better workflow to do with this using a certain script to come. But for now, once you highlight what you want to preserve, you can come to composition and be like from comp to region of interest. So it literally decreases everything to that kind of a shape that you want, right? So right now everything is literally made a bit small, it's not as big as then. You want it to be like a shape or something like that. Now at times the best workflow is to have these things pre-designed in Illustrator and then just start playing as shapes. Apparently we're designing everything in this kind of composition. So we have a few minutes, but the next 5 minutes we have to have done everything. So apparently, let me this thing is just zooming out. What I'm going to do is to have this kind of a thing. Let me make it seen again. It starts from 0. So there are 2 ways of actually doing that kind of a thing. It's just filling out. Either you put a keyframe. Now I'm going to show you guys a better workflow, a better one, putting keyframes. You can either be like start from here, and then you be like start from 0, right? You can, the best way is to input the number, start from 0, and then after like 2 seconds, like here, turn to 100, right? And then it actually does the same thing. It starts from 0 and then to 100, right? But there's another workflow which I think is better. You can also be like, you can also put a keyframe, and you be like, let me just, okay. You can also put a keyframe. Let me just type this in a bit. You can also put a keyframe, and you be like, in 10 seconds, I want it to be like this. So you start animating. Let me just turn it for my video a bit. And this kind of a setting, you start animating, starting from where the keyframe is. I don't know whether you guys can see. Let me just snap the video and so we concentrate on the screen. Anyway, you start, you get a position your keyframe where you want the animation. Okay? So you be like, I want the animation at this kind of a time, after this kind of seconds. After this kind of seconds to be this kind of a size. So you put your keyframe where you want, how you want it to end. Then you go back and then you be like, I want it to start from 0, right? I want it to start from 0. So as you can see, that's the same thing, but it's kind of a better workflow than starting from 0 and then coming here and scale it up. So it's always good to start to put a keyframe from where you want how the animation to be, and then you go back and just decrease the what and just decrease the scale or something like that. Just in case we also wanted to add some sort of a position, right? For example, we want at this kind of a place when it scales up, we want it to be here, or probably we want after it scales up, we want it to come to this kind of position, right? So instead of putting the keyframe, probably let me enable the position. Just press 3 and then it appeared. I can press U to show all the different properties, all the properties with keyframes. So instead of being like, I want you to put it, instead of putting a keyframe, the position at the start, and then you literally come here and then add another keyframe, right? Add another keyframe, or instead of adding another keyframe, just dragging it here, right? The best way would be or the better way still gives you the same results. Could be like, I want you to, start from here, or I want you to end in this kind of position. Then, anyway, let me take us back. It's beautiful. You come here and then I put a keyframe and be like, I want you to end here, right? You want it to end here. And then, anyway, let me change it in a bit. It's beautiful to come and put a keyframe and it be like, I want you to end in this kind of position. I think it also works with the position kind of the thing. I know when the position will give us the same thing. Let me use the opacity, because position requires you recalling where the thing was. Let me use the opacity, right? So instead of coming here and be like, I want it to the opacity to decrease from 0 to 100, you can just come here and be like, you can just come here to be like, right here we want it to be like 100% opacity. We want the opacity to be 100%. You want it to be this by 100%, and then you come down here and then decrease it, right? So it starts with low opacity and then it increases. It's easier than starting from here and then making the opacity low, right? Like 0%, putting a keyframe, and you be like, when it reaches here, as you can see, it's not seen because the opacity is low, or will be hidden it. And then you come here and then you be like, I want the opacity to be 100, right? So that's quite harder because by the time you reach here, you're not even seeing your kind of animation or something. So I think that's something to consider, or it's an easier kind of workflow. So yeah, that's how the thing appears. Let's have the first increase back to 100. So that's how these results of everything they made this very, very easy, right? They made the scale to come up. What they didn't do apparently is to ease the keyframes. That's F9. As you can see, it's a bit different from what M10 literally does, right? Ours appears in quite a better way than that of M10. The one of M10 is linear, right? You can even come here, as we shall see in the tutorials that we shall see, and then you edit the keyframes and you be like, I want you to end way slower than it actually is, right? So, right now, as you can see, it comes in very fast and then it stops slowly, right? Which is better, right? So, apparently, I'm just going to reference a bit from that of 15. And then after that, they have this go up here, right? So it's the same thing we're going to do here. Now, apparently, there was one of us who actually did the entire animation, right? So after here, now there's something which we need to observe. When it comes up to there, it actually stops, right? Nothing happens. Remember, the keyframes are literally to record the transformations or the things or the changes that happen in with the element you're literally recording, right? So apparently, let me hide this a bit and hide this. We want for like 5 seconds for it to be that kind of a place. So with that, since we're not going to change anything, if we want that kind of a place to be recorded, we have to come to that position, and it would be like from this apparently our position is here. We can be like we want it to be like here for like 5 seconds. So what we're going to do is to add a keyframe. Apparently just add it from here, or you can do when you settle it. Just in case it wasn't enabled, you can just come and add a keyframe and be like from this kind of right here. We want it to be stopped, right, up to like here for like 5 seconds to be static, right, to be stationary. So right now we just have to add another keyframe manually because we're not going to add any sort of transformation. If we move it, it will add itself, or it will code itself, right? It will add the keyframe by default to show us, or to record the kind of motion or something of sort. But we are not having it move. So since we are not having it move, we have to add a keyframe and this current time on delay. We want it to be at this kind of a place, right? Another easier way of doing this is to just copy delay. This is the position it's in. So you copy the keyframe, Control C, and then do Control V, and then it press that kind of position like where it is. And then be like from that kind of a place, we want to move here. So we just drag it up there. It will automatically record the keyframes. It will automatically record the movement. And then what happens is that it has to scale down, or it has to become small. So we want it, we're going to do the same thing. Since we don't want the scale, let me show us something here. If at all we come here and then we just scale it down, like from there, right? What happens is that it records the scaling from here, from where you just put the keyframe, right? So it starts scaling from up down, where you just put the keyframe up where it is. So you don't want it to actually appear like that. You don't want for it to start scaling down, even as it was kind of stationary here, right? So since we don't want to scale down from there, we have, instead of putting our keyframe right there, we have to firstly remove the keyframe and then come to the place where it was stationary. We want it to be stationary, and also add a keyframe of scale. And also have the keyframe of scale, right? So we want it to scale. We want the scale to be maintained here. We also want the position to be maintained here. As I said earlier, you can also copy this last keyframe, Control C and then Control V, still the same thing. So as you can see, in this kind of seconds, it's stationary. After here, as it's moving up, we can just scale it down, and then it record the scaling, right? So that is what's happening. We can also probably press F9 to have those keyframes. As you can see, we've literally done the motion. So yeah, that's literally scaled it up like that, to make it small, and then this was the scale up. Now we've discovered how literally this was scale up. So we can't do that. We don't want to do something for the sake of time. But just in case these were the words, since they start from 0, you can just have the words like where you want them to start, right? So let me say these are literally the words. We can just have them from where we want them to start. It'll be like here we want the words to be put down. So we do S, and then put a scale property, and we'll be like from this place we want them to be scaled down. So we need to scale down to 0. And then you will have the words that are coming out, just in case those were the words, just like those of M-chain, right? So we can do better than M-chain, and then it's in. So as you can see, the words are literally popping up, just like those of M-chain, right? So what happened with M-chain is that after that, some words literally scale down from here, right? So if you have your words literally, now they maintain everything for like a second or something, and then some other words literally scale down from like up. So we saw how that literally happens, right? So just in case these are the words, right? Just in case these are the words, right? Let me draw another shape right here. Just in case these are the words of MTN, and we want them to scale like from up there, we can just put the position keyframe from where we want them to start. Let me do it the normal way. Something we want them to like start from there, like hidden. In fact, let me do it a better way, like I told you guys. We want like in this kind of seconds to be like appearing like here, for them to have appeared. Then we can just go back in time, and we'll be like, we want them to this is the X and this is the Y, so we want them to start from like up there since it's hidden, right? And then as it moves from this kind of recording to here, as you can see, they literally move down. So in fact, if you decrease the length of between these keyframes, you make it like be faster because it's now decreasing the time. So better than M10, we can have these things like so in just a few seconds, we've literally done the entire animation. Just a few seconds, we've literally done the entire animation of M10, right? So this is how the M10 pops up. The words pop up, and then lastly, the other words literally come in, or the other shape literally comes in. Now, as it comes in, these words literally just disappear. I think they just added opacity, And then they'll be like, as the other ones are literally entering in, we want the opacity to decrease or want those words to disappear. So they added perhaps the opacity or they did anything. There are lots of ways you can have them disappear. So maybe they added the opacity, it was way basic. And then as the other ones were literally disappearing, let me just is them. As the other ones were disappearing, this was literally coming in. So that's how the MTN animation was literally done. Very basic. So yeah, if you literally understood how the keyframes work, it's just about recording whatever kind of a thing. You discover that you can literally make any kind of animation. Right? You can have this shape like decreasing down here. You can be like, or also want to decrease there, and also want, you know, in that kind of a place to be stationary, you add a keyframe, right? And it'll be like from this kind of a place, from this kind of time to this time, I want it to remain there, and then after that, change. You know, if you want it to, you want it to be stationary or remain there, you know, for this period of time, you just add another keyframe. And then after that, you can be like, after that time, I want it to change. You can add another keyframe there. And then after that, you can be like, I want it to change, and then it changes, right? It records the animation. As you can see, it remains stationary a bit, and then it changes, remains stationary a bit, and then it changes. Like, it's very easy to do animations. Yeah, animations are very easy. So as you can see, we just used only shape tools and keyframes. There are many keyframeable properties here. So as we finish up, I think we're going to transition to Photoshop in just a few minutes and then explore a few things in there. So as you guys have seen, animation is very easy. We've actually showed us how to do this. Once you have understood this, I pray you did. You can literally do any kind of animation in the world. Apparently, it's just understanding. You can go watch some other YouTube videos or something to see, like, you know, how the other keyframe properties, you know, work or something else. So we shall explore them in the coming classes. But I think next time we shall not go back to, you know, what keyframes are and that kind of stuff. So we shall just be animating stuff and learning, you know, new ways of how to do stuff, right? So yeah, it's very easy, but there are lots of transformable properties. You can transform the path. You can transform a lot of stuff. Like, there are lots of transformable properties. So we shall explore them in the next class. For now, we're going to go into design. Hope you guys are being blessed by that. Yeah, all literally understood that. We're going to go into design. Yesterday we explored what design is and everything. The other time people designed the Airtel plan that we did. I don't know whether I'm having that project apparently. I think it's this one. People learned how to design. We did a design of, you know, construction band and everything. So I hope you guys are still in the class or something. For those who are interested in design and everything, if you do motion, you should also be interested in how to design and everything. So let me disable my screen in a bit, and I'm going to show us something new. It's called masking. Right now, yesterday, on Wednesday, there's something which I did here. It's called masking. So we're going to explore it and understand it, so it will make our work very easy. So let me just disable the video in a bit, and then I think in the next 15 minutes we have to be ending the class. All right. I'm going to delete everything within this artboard. Everything. So today we're going to talk about masking and a bit of blending modes because they are very easy, right? So apparently I want us to design this kind of flyer in just a few seconds. Now flyer design is very easy. Just like how we learned yesterday. It's very easy. So, but we're going to learn what masking is in a bit. Now there's some tips and tricks that I wanted to show us to do with flyer design. Now, one of them is how to remove backgrounds very fast. Now, there's a way to remove background in Photoshop. I downloaded some images here, but I'm going to show us the fastest way. In fact, I hardly use Photoshop to, you know, remove backgrounds from pictures. For example, this kind of background, it can be easy for Photoshop to, you know, remove the background because the people are holding the phone and everything, like. The people are holding the phone and in the background are a bit distant. right? So there are lots of ways of how to remove the background. The easiest way is making a quick selection using the quick selection tool, and then you just click on it, right? You can come and make the selections and everything, but this is a bit harder, right? The other way of using the quick selection tool is just clicking on it and then having the image highlighted here. You highlight the image, click on quick selection tool, and then come to select either select subject or come to select advanced. Now this is the harder way of removing backgrounds. After that, if you wanted to do it automatically, you can select subject again, and then you should remove the background for you automatically. Now, at times, if the image is complex, what it does is that it can usually quit. It can stop working. It can go off, right? So I pray it doesn't go off. I pray it doesn't quit itself. Yeah, so apparently it has removed the background, and I think it has been very easy for Photoshop because this is a very easy kind of adjustment or something. So let me add some sort of a background here. But as you can see, it's not so accurate with the hair, right? It's not accurate with the hair. It has removed other stuff, but it's not accurate with the hair. Apart from checking the background here, I've just added. What I've added is an adjustment layer. We shall go through them sometime to come. I've added a solid color, so solid color you can change any color as you can see, right? So it's not accurate with the hair, and as you can see down there, it has left some marks. So let me show us an easier way or a faster way of removing backgrounds in a bit. If you don't have this kind of background, you can go to Adobe XD. Let me see when I'm using the one that is such a window. You can go to Adobe Express. In fact, it's Adobe Express. And when you go to Adobe Express has that thing of you removing background, that kind of stuff. So apparently, Adobe Express on the internet so far is the free place where you can have your background removed like swiftly and in the best way possible, better than Photoshop. Now, apparently, I've been using Photoshop 2019, but even though I use Photoshop 2024, I could open it up, but it will still give you the same results, right? It doesn't have like the automatic selection of elements in the best way possible, right? So you go to Adobe XD and open up an account. Now, personally, I already have the account opened up, so I can be like remove background, right? Just in case, let me just open something which doesn't have the Adobe XD. So this is the menu that you guys have. Adobe XD. You just create an account with them and then go to a window that shows remove background. Wondering why my internet is acting slow. So normally slow. So and then go to remove background. You will see it there. Why it's going down? It goes down. It has actually brought up the window. So all we have to do is to just drag and drop, right? Now, personally, I've already made an account with it. So once I drag and drop in just a few seconds, it will remove my background for me, and then it will do it way faster way faster and better than Photoshop itself, right? Than Photoshop itself. So just go to Adobe Express. Express. Some of you guys, you just have to put an account or something. So I think my internet is a bit slow. We shouldn't be this slow. It's a bit slow, so that's why it's actually taking a few more seconds. But that's how you remove my internet. So hope my videos, hope my videos work because my internet is flowing in a way that's not okay. Yeah, so it removes the background for you. Normally does it in a few seconds. After removing the background, you can just move the image just like we shall do. So I wanted to show you that's what masking is. Masking, just like how a mask is. Okay, just like how a mask is. When somebody wears a mask, he or she usually hides some parts, and then some parts are literally unveiled. So we all know what a mask is. because this lady she's wearing a mask, right? So she's hiding the mouth. Or the mask is actually hiding the mouth, right? So as you can see, our background is removed. So all I have to do is to download. Now I already have an account there, so it's I already have the account, so I already have this thing. It's because I use it almost every time. In fact, all the time I have to remove background. Okay. Unless otherwise. So I will show us how to use the pen tool to remove that. This is actually basic. Some people use it, but it's not accurate. So you want to go to Adobe XD and then remove the background. After you remove the background, my internet has been a bit slow. But after you remove the background, you can just download your image. Apparently it's downloading. I think it has downloaded. Let me drag it here. As you can see, let's make some sort of comparison between that which is removed by Photoshop and then this virtual one. I don't know whether it's here, right? So that was the one by Photoshop, and this is the one by Adobe XD. So I'm going to do it a bit so that it's almost on the same side, and just click this and then duplicate the project. Control J, right? So let me hide this one. As you can see, the one done by Photoshop, it removed, it left some stuff here. It didn't work on the hair, but the one which is done by Adobe XD, it actually worked on the hair, and then it didn't actually remove. I didn't actually leave this kind of thing here, as you can see, right? So when you're removing your backgrounds from any kind of image, don't use Adobe Photoshop, even though it can be, easier for you. Or it's not even easier, it's not even faster. Use always, Adobe XD. Use always Adobe Express, right? So it's faster, it's smooth, and it's better. You can work on the hair and everything. So anyway, let's talk about masking. In masking, the concept of masking, for example, let me put an image here. We had our image right here, so let me put it here, and then delete the mask. So in this kind of image, if you want to hide the stuff like up here, you want the stuff up here to be hidden, right? What we do is to apply what we call a layer mask. Layer mask works in a concept that black hides and then white reveals. While there is black hides and then white reveals. Right? So you don't want to forget that. Now, just in case, this is a little for colors, or starting for having the background color and then the background color. You can literally have it put in default. You can just click here and literally put in default when you're literally going to mask, right? So there are lots of ways we can literally mask stuff. One thing we have to remember is that black hides and then white reveals. For example, if we click on our brush tool, I know they explored it yesterday. If we click on our brush tool, the shortcut is 3, right? So, and then I click on our image. Okay. So, if we click on our brush tool and on our image, it shows us because the image is a smart object. So, you don't want to apply a mask on a smart object, right? Because if you apply a mask on, in fact, it doesn't allow you to apply a mask on what we call a smart object. Now, a smart object is it's an object which is sealed with a layer. We call it non-destructive. Like if you do something to a smart object, for example, let me show you. If I click, whenever you see something here, as you can see, when I highlight it, shows smart object thumbnail. When I double click it, it takes us to where the real image is. Now this is the real image. This one in particular is sealed. It literally, like, think of it as a seal, which is sealing the real image from being destroyed or something like that. For example, if I apply a filter, for example, like black, and then blur this image, Gaussian blur, and then have it blur. As you can see, it's applied here, but right now in the real image, nothing has happened because it's like a seal. A smart object seals the real image from being destroyed, right? But if you want to remove that seal, which is on the smart object, you turn it into what they call a raster image. So when I click on the with a brush, they give you a pop-up that says the smart object must be rasterized before proceeding. Edit content will no longer be available. Raster smart objects. You don't want to do that because it will destroy the original image. So what we can do right now, what we can do is very, very easy. We can turn this into a group, and then all right, besides even turning it into a group, and then applying what we call a layer mask. Apparently, click here and then add a layer mask. What happens? It applies the layer mask without destroying even the smart object itself. So it's like you add another extra layer, right? So apparently, on our layer mask, this is the foreground color, or this is the color of our brush. So if I just apply it here, as you can see, it's hiding everything in the photo, right? It's hiding everything in the photo. Remember, I told you guys whatever is in the folder applies to everything within the folder, right? Applies to the elements within the folder. So apparently we are hiding everything. So this is what we call masking. We are hiding, so we are painting black here because black hides, as you can see. Before our mask was white, right? It was white because white reveals. It was white to select show everything in here, right? If we just invert the mask by pressing Ctrl I, it hides. It shows like black because black hides. So once everything is like revealed, we use our brush tool. We make sure whatever kind of color. Now, when you press X, as you can see right here, I'm switching between the foreground and background. Whatever kind of color that's in the foreground, it will affect what changes. So since white black is in the foreground, it will hide, right? Since white is in the foreground, it will reveal, right? So, and that's the masking. So you can mask using anything that you can use. For example, we have here gradients, right? Gradients normally, let me just apply like just anywhere for gradients. You all know gradients. Like apparently a gradient is starting from black to transparency, right? Up here there are no pixels, right? It's on opacity 0. When we increase the opacity, we can actually come here, add a color. We can come here and add some sort of a color. You shall learn how to do all those kind of things. And then it's like from black then to white, right? But apparently we can have our opacity of 0 or 100. So anyway, let me just apply some other color right here. Or let me just click on the preset. Now as you can see, starting from red, if I increase it here a bit, from red from green to green. Now that's a gradient, right? So we can also apply masks using gradient. Now as I told you guys, you want to apply a mask on the layer, just have to click on this star right here. It's down here. Right? Once you apply it, it adds a layer mask, right? Once you add a layer mask, as you can see, I can come to gradients and also add a layer mask using gradients. Now when you click on gradients, it shows you a certain panel here to ask you to edit the gradient. So what the gradient will start from black to white, right? It's starting from black to white, as you can show you right here, right? So since it's starting from black to white, when you apply our gradient as a mask, the black pixels will hide and then the white pixels will reveal. So let me just apply that gradient. Apparently, to have it straight like this, I'm pressing Shift to have it like straight. If you don't press Shift, you just have to have it straight automatically, like manually. But if you want to move in a straight line, I can add Shift to it. And then as you can see, I've applied a mask using a gradient. I've been like, I want it because the big thing with applying a mask using a gradient is that since the gradient has a smooth transition, as you can see, it has this kind of smooth transition between white and black. So even here, it shows a smooth transition, like the transition from down here to like from up here to down here is smoother, right? So if I had like a black background, just like yesterday, it shows, I mean, a white background, it shows like a smooth transition to the stuff, right? instead of still even with the brush tool, you can still do the same. Once I apply a mask, I can use the brush tool, the brush tool which is B, probably increase it a bit, and then apply. Make black to be the foreground, and then apply. As you can see, we can have the same effect, but we have to do quite a lot, and then it may not be that as good, but it's still the same thing. So that's literally masking for us. Now, apparently, we are forming as net. But I want us to do this file in just, I think, in the next 5 minutes. Let me just show us how to design flyers from scratch and professionally, right? Yeah, apparently, I think in the next 5 minutes, we're going to have us closing. So let me create a new document very fast. Most of the people have left it. Once you create a document, professionally, what you want to do, I'm doing this very, very fast. You want to create some sort of a shape to help you guide you on how you want the edges to be. So you create some sort of a shape to establish for you the safe space, right? And then you can drag and drop control. You can press control and then duplicate it. So it's good if it's a perfect square. So if it's not, I can just have it rotated and then add it there and then drag and drop and then create something of a safe space. And then as I showed us, you can drag rulers from this side and then add them. And then you add rulers just like this. I can also add rulers from this space. All right. I can also add rulers from up here. Once you've established the safe space, the other thing we need to do that. You can now delete these shapes and then add an image, right? Or add something with background or something else that you want to use. Solid color. All right, in the next 4 minutes, we're going to be done. I just wanted us to just to see how this custom can be done very fast. Okay. Oh, I didn't create another board. Anyway, let me just create it there. I've just shown us how to apply those rulers the professional way. So let me use this one. Just in case we're going to apply the rulers, I want us to do this very, very fast. Sorry guys about the time and everything. And then we can just add an image. I'm just going to explore us. I'm just going to have us explore what blend modes are also in just a few minutes. So we can add an image just like this, right? So after adding the image, just like we explored yesterday, we can add the text, right? You can add the text, increase the size and everything. We're not going to do everything right now. I don't believe we have the time to. You can add the text and duplicate and add the text and probably have them aligned. I wish we could do that probably tomorrow sometime, so probably the next day. Anyway, for the sake of time, I'm going to just stop this. Since most of us are going to hear some episode. But tomorrow, hopefully I'm going to send us some sort of tutorial to show us how different blend modes work. And we shall literally continue exploring it tomorrow. So for the sake of time, it's already 7 minutes past the time we have to close this. I'm just going to have us, close the class. And thank you guys for being a part of it. We shall continue tomorrow. We shall explore how blend modes work, and we shall know how to add the key things like how those of editing they added in this image. I think I downloaded some of those stuff, but I'll just show us how those things happen. For example, you add something like this, right? By just using blend modes, you are able to make this kind of effect like they did, right? If I just change, we shall explore how this all work. But if I just change this to color band, as you can see, we're having the same kind of effect because color band hides the white pixels and then it removes the dark ones. So that's what literally happens. And then with that, what masking is, so I can literally mask this color using our brush, having the black up, and then hiding those stuff from demo something also. And then we applied our effect, and then all they did was to apply the text, right? Upright the text, align the text very well in yellow, and underline the text in yellow, just like we explored yesterday. People, you're able to do that. And then they added the logo right here, they added some sort of a logo right here, and then a logo down here. And literally the flyer is done. They added some sort of a yellow shape down here, and then put text on top, right? And then the flyer was literally done. You can literally do it in like 3 minutes or so, right? In just 3 minutes, and you have it and just explore it once you have the elements. So it's actually very, very easy. Anyway, for the sake of time, let's have the class closed. So somebody's going to pray for us as we close the class. Thank you guys for being a part of this. Go and do the School of Motion class that I shared with us. It's free and it's very easy to take you guys through the nitty-gritty of everything is working. So for now, I'm going to end the class right here, right now. I thank you guys for being a part of it. I wish we had more time to go into deeper stuff and all that kind of stuff. But for now, I'm going to stop the class. Yeah, for those of you guys who learned after effects and everything, thank you for learning. You can teach some other person. And for those of you guys who are new to Photoshop and design, as you can see, stuff are very, very easy. And that's my desire to actually have you guys see how easy stuff are. Once you just learn one concept like masking and then blend modes, you can just go and explore them. Yeah. So I'm going to have like one person praying for us. If there is any question, please somebody can ask, but somebody can just pray for us, and then I will close the meeting. Right. So Mildred in Subuga, can you please pray for us, and then we close the meeting, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. All right. You're welcome. Father, we thank you so much for this gathering. We thank you for all of the knowledge and skills that we have gained in this meeting. And we pray that you may help us and enable us to use these skills for your glory and to take over territories in Jesus' name. We thank you for our moderator. We thank you for everyone that has endeavored to bring these classes to us. We thank you for everyone that has made it possible for us to learn today. We thank you for them. We thank you that they're doubly blessed. Each and every day they're increasing, even as we